this is how to make a 3D rendering of a 2D character. I'm using Fred Flintstone here, and Fred has. We're going to say that Fred's light source is coming from here, from this area here is where the sun is going to be coming, and I'm going to create a 3D, I guess, shadowing of Fred. So we'll start with this arm right here. Here are some of the tools that we're going to use. We're going to use our select tool. We're going to be using our brush tool. And we're going to be using our layers. And we're going to talk about layers as we did in our Illustrator, where we can use them with different overlay effects. So I'm going to take this tool. I'm going to select Fred's arm. There's Fred's arm. And I'm going to now create a new layer. That new layer I'm going to call shadow. And it's now on top of Fred. If you see right here, I have the original Fred, and here's a shadow. Because I have this highlighted, that's the only place that I'm going to be able to paint. So I'm going to select my paint tool, my brush tool, and I want, in my brush selection, I want it to be like this, soft and round, all right? And that's what I want. And I want it to be about 54 is okay. You know, that's pretty good for now. 54, 55. The color I'm going to select is going to be a black. And I'm going to start painting. Now when I paint, look, I'm painting here and nothing's happening, right? If I paint across this, look, it's able to be picked up. I'm going to undo that. I just want, if the light's coming from here, I want there to be a shadow here. I want there to be a shadow underneath here. I want there to be a shadow underneath here, and maybe here, and maybe, oh, I have to select his thumb later, right? So on his thumb. So now I have a little shadow there, right? That's black. We don't want it necessarily black. We're going to come here into the opacity, and I'm going to bring it down, I don't know, maybe to 50%. But I can always make it darker if I want, or lighter if I want.
Professor?
Yes.
I have to use the bathroom, but I just want to know if this will be uploaded.
Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be.
Okay,
please wash your hands when you're done. Okay.
Yes, I will.
All right.
No COVID.
So now the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to now put another new layer in, and I'm going to call this highlight. I could call it whatever I want, but highlight just for my mind is good. And I'm going to make this white. Okay. So now I have the highlight and shadow. I'm going to go white. The sun is coming from here, as I said. So I'm going to make this a little white. I'm going to make this area here a little white. So I want to make this a little bit smaller. So I get fine in there. This here a little light. Right? All the way down here to the top of his finger, and maybe the top of his finger here, right? That's very white. Let's make this even whiter here, because we're gonna lower the opacity on it. All right, so I'm gonna take this, lower the opacity a little.
Just a quick tip. Sometimes we made mistake, but just to keep in mind, you can draw the whatever light source you wanted to draw, and if you post, let's say if you post a light source on a white, the light gonna hit the character on a white there, on a white, and it show the white highlights into the character.
That's correct.
Later on.
So now my last one I'm doing is called midtones, and I'm taking the midtones and I'm making sure the midtones is over the top. And now we're going to do something different with this. So I'm going to take the black.
Why did you isolate just the arm?
I'm going to take the black, and I'm going to go okay. And with this, I'm going to take my bigger. Remember, everything that you guys are saying is being recorded, just so you know. All right, and I'm going to make this maybe like 60, 62, and I'm now going to take the black. I'm going to put it up the middle here. Oh my gosh, I've ruined it. I'm going to put it here. I ruined it. I ruined it. No, I haven't, because what I'm going to really do to it is I'm going to put it in and make it an overlay. And then in the overlay, I'm going to bring the opacity down, opacity down, opacity down. And now suddenly what we've done is we've just given him a little bit of color there,
Where
right?
are these recorded?
All right, a little bit of color there. And I might even bring a little bit more down into here. That's cool. All right, and right there. And now we have his arm set the way we want it. I think that I might lower the shadow just a little bit on it, because I think it's a little too black. Okay, and now we've done the arm. I'm going to click off, and now I have his arm done. I want to do the same with the rest of his body, but we have to keep in mind the light source. So I'm going to do his legs, and I'm going to select again using my magic wand. Matter of fact, I'll do his face. Oh, I'm sorry. Click here. Click on his layer. Now I've selected his face. All right. On his face, we want to do the same exact thing. So I'm going to go into the shadows first. And I have this area right here to work with. So I'm going to go into the shadows. On the shadows layer. Make sure you keep your layers separate, guys. I'm going to start with black. And with my brush tool, I'm going to come in here a little. Okay. I'm going to come under here. There's going to be a drop shadow under his hair, right? So we want to get under his hairline, because his hair does stick out from his body. Okay. Like that. Nice. All right. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to get underneath his ear. That might be a little too much. I'm going to lower that opacity myself manually. Cool. All right. This little laugh line here. Cool. All right. And then the bottom of his nose a little. Okay. The bottom of his nose will give me a nice. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could make, for each section, you can make your own set of light, dark, and medium, or what I have set: shadow, highlight, midtones. Right. I have it set. I wrote midtown, but midtown, midtone. Okay. All right. And here. Okay. Okay. So now I have that. Now I'm going to go into the highlights. The highlights, we used white, remember? So I'm going to come in here, use white, and we know that that's coming in hot on his nose, right? So we're going to come in hot on his nose here. We're going to come into here, just under the highlight there. We'll come on the top of his ear a little, all right? And on the top of this, because this is really like, stands out a little, all right? And I think that that's good there, right to here for his nose. Let's bring it right down there for his nose. Look what that does. Okay. Okay. Now we'll go to the midtones or midtown.
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
When this is uploaded, what window on Blackboard is this going to be uploaded to?
It will be to the learning module. It will be attached to the learning module where the assignment is.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And now I'm going to make this a little larger. All right, like this. Bring this in here like this. Okay. Same thing here. I'm just now I am just making him up. Right? I'm giving a little makeup. Okay, look at that. And this is the midtones now I'm using, all right? So I have the black, I have the white, and I have, remember, this is black. If I made it not overlay and I made it normal, right? Look at that. That's a mess, right? It just looks like a mess. But when I make it overlay, boom, it overlays that dark onto his skin tone, which is delicious. All right. So now I'm going to click off. Boom. Look at that already, right? We'll do the same thing. Let's do the same thing to his tie. So I'm going to click on his tie. I got to click on Fred again. And I'm going to click on my wand tool. I'm going to click on it. I'm shift clicking, shift clicking, shift clicking. So now I'm going to work on the tie all at one time, starting with the shadows. Go back right to the beginning where we were. So I'm going to go to the shadow. We know that there's going to be a shadow here, right? Because his hand's there. All right. So let's get that there. All right. We know that there's going to be a shadow here because this is underneath. All right. So I'm going to make a nice shadow there. And I'm going to make it even a little darker here. And I'm going to make it a little darker here. Nice. Underneath his thumb right here, which we didn't do the thumb yet, remember? And then maybe because his chin is there, Now we're going to go to the highlight, get into the white again. Okay, and shoom, right off the end there. Maybe something there. Maybe. I don't know if I like that. Let's undo that. Oh, that's good right there. And maybe something right across this top here. Maybe. All right, and that makes it nice. Nothing here, nothing down here. We'll go into the midtones again. We'll go down midtown, and I'm going to pick up the black again, and it's going to do the same thing. All right, it's just going to give us a little bit of a texture here. Okay. All right, and let's click off. All right. I think I might not like, let's undo that. I think I might not like, well, I'm going to go to the highlight, and I'm going to delete or erase this one here. I don't like that. I think it looks unnatural. Okay. So I'm taking that out there, and I'm going to lessen that just a little. Okay. Now I feel better. Okay. Okay. So there's Fred's there. Let's get into his his shirt or his, I don't know, his man dress. I never figured that out. What Fred wore. Huge fan, but never knew what he wore.
I think
Tunic is what I think it's
A
called.
tunic. Who said that?
Gabe.
Gabe, that's beautiful. You're 100% right, Gabe. It's a tunic. I love it.
Caveman tunic.
A cave tunic.
He doesn't come close to Jesus Christ drip, though.
Cave tunic, man. And, a big dude for, back in the day, cavemen really weren't built like that. But, it's different. He was a modern Stone Age family. They had all kinds of, stuff, that
It's built different.
Yeah, just built different. So we're going to start again with our shadows. We go from our shadows into our black, which we already are in. Okay, and then where are we hitting these shadows? Same place, man. Now look, what are we doing? We're looking here. We know that there's going to be a shadow here because of his arm, right? So his arm would give a shadow, as would his hand to a degree, as would the side of his tie, right? Because the tie is going to be hanging off a little, all right? As would his collar a little, just a little. See how I'm doing that? Just a little. Same thing here, just a little. And down here, just a little. There might not really be any place for the highlight except for maybe right here, because his chest might be getting a little bit of the sunlight. So we'll come in here, we'll get the white, we'll bring it. Boom, just like that. That's nice. Let's go Midtown again. And I'm just going to keep on saying Midtown because I wrote Midtown. And then the same thing. Now we can maybe really, work that a little. Look, see, now it gives us a little bit of a, of a gradient into here. It really gives us some sort of color variation because that red is really, all right, here. Let's get his hinds over here a little. Boom. All right. And I would say that the tips of his of this, each tip on that side looks really cool like that. That gives it really some sort of depth. And maybe in here. And I think I'm going to put a little bit more shadow in there as well. Look at that. Nice. Oh, I don't like that one. Okay. A little shadow in here also, because his arm would be off that. See how suddenly his arm is off the thing like that, right? That's really cool. All right, so now I'm going to go back. I'm going to select his. I got to go to Fred again. Select his arm, and in his arm, I want to go to the shadow here. It's bothering me. Oh, no, we'll go to the arm, and then I'll do it at the end. I'll shake it up at the end. So here's his. We're going to him. We got his arm shaken up. We'll go to the shadow first. Same thing. I'm going to come down into the blacks. We know that there's going to be a shadow right off of here, right? That's too much, Z. I'm going to lower my opacity even more here. Nice. Okay. Nice there. Underneath the arm, good. Here, definitely, right? Here, definitely. We'll put more mid-tone in there later on. Okay. There would be no, this is behind. The light's hitting here. The light should only be on here, right? And that's about it. And now I'm going to go to the mid-tones. And bring it in here. All right. And I'm doing this live. So it's not really taking that long for me to do here. Okay, that's good. Let's get this part of his face here. Go back to Fred. Grab the face. Beautiful. All right. Same thing. Shadow. Black. Paint. Under the nose. All right. We might do a little bit out here because it really is a relief. We're going to do more with the mid-tone here than we would somewhere else. But underneath the nose, there would definitely be some shadow there because his nose is giving off some sort of light there. He will definitely have a highlight there. Let's go collect our white because this is part of everything we're seeing. So he would definitely have a highlight here. Okay. And I would make it smaller. Give a sense of, even though it's under the nose, I would come right here, just not too much. Just a little there, just a little here. Okay. And I feel good about that. Let's get to the mid-tone. Select our black. Bam. All right. And then make it larger again, just so that we have something to play with. Good. That's good. Okay. Okay. We use the mid-tone to really make our shadows stand out. Okay. When I do stuff like this, I do feel like Bob Rossi. Not Bob Rossi. Bob Ross-ish is what I meant. All right. And I'm going to come down here. Same thing here. We're going to want to put a little bit of love here. Okay. I might even take a little shadow. Just a little shadow here. Okay. And that's crazy. So now let's take a look at this. All right. We're going to come here. Wow. Now, if I take these three things here and I put them in a group, a new group from layers, and I'm going to call it, 3D question mark, and then say okay. Now, when I get rid of it, here's our original Fred, and here's our Fred with some depth, right? And we're not even done yet. Here's our Fred with some depth. With this same set that we have here, I'm going to do one more bit, which is going to be his legs, and then the hair we're going to treat separately, and you'll see why. All right, I'm going to select this, shift, select both, and now we'll go into shadows. We're good, and again we'll start. We'll start here. You know that the tunic, thank you, Gabe, would have definitely some sort of like overhang, right? And you get the overhang feel by using this. All right. So that's down there. Where might else we have a little bit of a shadow? We might have a shadow. Well, I don't know. I'm feeling we're gonna have shadow down here. I gotta select those toes just like I gotta select later on. Okay. I gotta select that thumb later, right? That thumb's still sitting out there. Don't forget it. Okay. All right. And maybe right down this area. So let's make this smaller. And we'll start right here. And I'm going to hit shift. There we go. Okay. Good. Because this leg might be over the top of this. But we're not really going to get a highlight. We're going to get a highlight here on his toes. So we'll go to the highlight. We'll select white. Good. All right. And make it a little bit larger. All right. Let's get some white in here on his toes. And maybe here. Just to feel good about it. Okay. Nothing here. We're going to go to the midtones, get our black again, and then remember, it's used to accentuate. That might be a little too much. Let's lower that opacity back down a little. Okay, it's used to accentuate the shadows that we have here. All right, accentuates that. Maybe also gives us a little extra bit of depth here. Okay. See, now suddenly he has a foot, right? See, there suddenly is a top to that foot. Same thing here. Right next to that white, you suddenly have a top to that foot. That's really cool, right? All right. And now I'm going to select those areas that have been forgotten. So that is these two toes and that thumb. Okay. Let's do the same treatment real fast. Black, boom. Let's get the shadow going on. Shadow would be down below here. Nice. And the shadow would be off to the side here. And then there would be a highlight on both of them. Maybe. But definitely on the thumb. We'll put a little bit of love here. A little bit of white there. And maybe a little across the top of that toe. Okay. Now we have Fred Flintstone in all of his 3D glory. All right. We're going to treat the hair differently. Why? Because it just feels different because of the blackness that you want to definitely treat it differently. So I'm going to take this here. I'm going to select his hair. Same way as we selected everything else. Click. Oh, it's going to do all of the outlines. My bad. So that's okay. We're just going to work on his hair. And I love it. This is, you can now tell that I'm doing this live because I have not practiced this. I'm going to do a new layer. I'm going to call it hair highlight. Okay. And hit OK on it. Boom. Hair highlight. Put it above everything else. All right. And I'm going to pick white. We've got it. I'm going to paint it. Okay. And now I want to, same thing. I want to come across the top here. Okay. I want to come, make it a little smaller. Okay, and I want 100%. For now. All right, and I am just, that might be too much. Too much. All right, let's do it a little less. All right, same thing in here. I want to bring it the front of this. Oh, look how white that is. That's going to look like crap. Okay, no, it's not, because you know what we're going to do. We're going to play with the opacities. Okay, same thing here. Okay. Okay, so now let's unselect it. And now let's take this opacity, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down a little bit more. Okay. Okay, and now at the end, what we want to do is to
Merge the layers.
no, because just in case your client doesn't like it, right? You want to make sure that you keep it clean. Okay? But what I want to do is I want to just do a little bit of smudging, just a little bit, just a little bit. So if I come into this layer, here I'll come into the shadow. I know his nose just feels a little bit too much for me here. So I'm going to bring that down just a little bit here. Just too much shadow there for me. Okay. Just down there feels a little bit too much shadow. There you go. So now here we go. We have Fred Flintstone, which we started. Here's an easier way for me to do it. Okay. We started like this, and we ended like this. Not unlike, and I think we did it, you know, in a matter of minutes. Not a matter of minutes, but not a long period of time. You can then mess within this area here. You can mess with the opacities. I have a 41% right now. I could bring it down and see what that shadow does. If I brought it all the way up, what does it do? It really darkens him up, maybe a little bit too much. But, you know, you can mess with that. Same thing with the highlights. You would go, okay, really, the sun's really hot on him, okay? And the midtones, same thing. I have them at 30%. Look what that does. That really starts richening him up. Saturates him, really, is the word that we would use, all right? Last thing I might do is select the background. Let's go to Fred. Select the background. Delete it. So now I have him as the ability to make a PNG out of him, so I can have him anywhere. So I could then add a drop shadow to him here, or in the program I'm going to use him in, I could do a drop shadow. How would I do that? I might just do a new layer and say drop, okay, and put this below Fred, and then take ourselves some black. Boom. With this, and just start. See what's happening there. Now it's about the end of his thing there. All right. And the sun's coming from here, so there would be a little bit more working out this way, right? Because that's where the sun's coming from. Okay. But suddenly, he has, bam, there he is. All right. Let's make this a little darker here. Okay. And the same thing here. Come around. And it suddenly grounds him. I could take this, I can hit the opacity on it, bring it down, so that when you send it out as a PNG, it will act as a shadow over whatever you do it on. All right. Or you can just go like this and get rid of it and then send them out however you want. From here, you will then hit File and then export as a PNG. And I'll call it, Freddy PNG to my desktop. Save, boom. And now I have him to use him anywhere. I'm going to stop recording now.